Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. In this video I'm going to be unboxing my first ever slider, and then we're going to go out into the field and we're going to try and shoot a motion time lapse with it. If you're thinking about getting a slider in the future or you just want some inspiration, then this video is for you. This particular slider is the Edelkrone SliderPLUS V5 Pro Long. And in addition to the actual slider itself, I've also got the Slide Module V3, so the version 3 of the Slide Module. This is a motorized slide module that fits onto the end of the slider and moves the camera in a motorized way, backwards and forwards. Have a look at that in a minute. And I also got this, what's this called, the Flex Tilt Head 2. This just helps kind of position your camera, especially if you're doing incline time lapse or motion control. Also got a few other little bits and bobs there that we'll come to in a minute. So let's go and unbox this thing. Get rid of the cellophane. So my first impressions of this packaging are really good. Got like a really nice kind of shiny, let me just try and get it in the camera there. Nice kind of shiny bit of the logo there against this kind of matte black cardboard. Let's have a look at what's inside here. Here we go. So the top of the box is padded with some foam to try and keep everything safe, which is nice. Got this little user manual here. One really cool thing from Edelkrone is you get free lifetime accident insurance. So basically you can just register your product for free lifetime accident insurance, which is pretty cool. Give you a bit more kind of security if you're trying to use these products in less than, I won't say safe environments, but challenging environments where things might fall over or you might damage something. I'm not sure exactly what's covered in this warranty, so you need to make sure that you read all the terms and conditions. Little thing here, just telling you to say hashtag Edelkrone, which we might do in the future. Feel free to check out my Instagram at JasonTheRoberts, by the way. User manual here, basically telling you how to set up the slider, what's in the box. Got a few little sticker things here, and if I'm not mistaken, I believe these are little cleaning strips that if you want to kind of clean the rotors on the slider, or the, I'm quite sure, wheels I guess, on the slider, you can put them on the slider and then roll it backwards and forwards and it can kind of clean off the gunk from the slider wheels. So that's everything in the little pouch. Got a little pocket here. This is just really nice and heavy, which may or may not be good if you're trying to carry all of this stuff up a big hill to do time lapse. We'll have to wait and see. If you want to see more uses of this in the future, make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Anyway, this is a couple of Allen keys, 2.5 and 3mm Allen keys. Let's put those over to one side and we'll have a look at the actual unit itself. So here's the slider itself, and in here we've got some magnetic snap-on belts for SliderPLUS. Put those to one side and get rid of this packaging, nothing else in here. Once again, this is all lined with foam to keep everything nice and secure, which is nice, especially considering how nicely couriers treat things sometimes. Anyway, this is the unit. Got a couple of ties here holding on these things, which we'll take off in just a moment. Just gonna very carefully cut these off because I don't want to damage the slider rails themselves. Any little kind of dents or nicks in the slider rail might mean that, especially if you're shooting motion video, if the transport here hits one of those little divots, then it's gonna kind of cause a bit of wobble in the footage. So I wanna be really careful when I'm taking this off that I don't damage the rails at all, because that would be pretty sad. So I'm just going to go in the side here, try not to touch the actual rails themselves. If you've seen any of my other unboxings, you'll realise that I'm kind of clumsy sometimes, so I'm taking this extra slowly. Okay. So I'm not sure if these are just spacers to keep everything safe in transport. They don't seem to have any other purpose, but they might do, so don't quote me on that. I won't throw them away just yet. Right, I'm going to take off the other one on this side. Once again, I'm going to be super careful. If anyone from Edelkrone's watching this video, one little suggestion is to maybe, instead of using these cable ties, which when you're cutting them off can risk damaging the slider. Perhaps in future packaging there's an alternative to this that makes these a bit easier to get off. By the way, this video is not a sponsored video. This is all purchased with my own money. Okay, that was a bit easier. Just get rid of this rubbish. All right then. So this is the slider. Just turn it around this way so you can see it a bit better. And carriage moves forward and backwards. Now, I don't want to force it at the minute because I think I need to read the instructions. There are some ways that you can tighten or loosen this belt. And you've also got these magnetic clip-ons here to make attaching and detaching the belts easier. If you want me to do a full kind of breakdown and full tutorial and setup of, well, how to set up this thing, let me know in the comments down below and we'll see if we can make that happen. So this is the basic slider. So I'm just going to put that to one side. In here, we've got the actual motorized slide module. This attaches to the end and basically makes this middle carriage slide up and down. So you don't have to use motorization with this slider. You can just, basically push it by hand if you want to create manual shots. But I think the really cool thing about this is the motorization. So let's have a look at what's in here. Once again, I've got the user manual, which I won't look at just now. Got a little box. I like how all of these boxes and little bits of packaging have the kind of Edelkrone logo there. Hold it around the right way so you can see. Just gives you a nice sense of confidence when the packaging is so nicely designed. And it's pretty functional as well. Got a little cable here, which I'm not sure what that's for just yet. And a couple of thumb screws here. So I'll just put those back in the box so we don't lose them. Over here. And inside here is the main unit. Let's have a look at this. Put the box away. That box is also really nicely padded with foam inside. Basically, if I understand this correctly, you attach this unit to the end of the slider, something like that, I'm guessing, and then it moves the carriage forward and backwards. So I'm going to get all this set up in just a minute, and then we'll head outside and we'll go and see if we can shoot a motion time lapse. Just before we do that, got a few other little boxes here. I'll just show you this. This is the Flex Tilt Head 2. Edelkrone's gone with white packaging with this kind of silver logo on this time, which is still really nice. Let's have a look in here. Got the Flex Tilt Head, and probably see that in the field in a few minutes. A few extra screws and a couple of extra Allen keys. I'm assuming these will be the same size as the other Allen keys, I'm not sure about that though. So that's the Flex Tilt Head. And we've also got a couple of extra boxes here. This is the S2 shutter release cable. Basically, this will trigger your camera to take a photo during a time lapse. So it'll move the carriage, take a photo, move the carriage, take a photo. To tell the camera to actually take the photo, you can use one of these link cables or shutter cables. Let's have a look at this. So there's different ones for different cameras. This is for Sony. So hopefully I've got the right one here to use the A7R4 to do the time lapse later. So this end goes into the camera, I think it's USB, and this end plugs into the actual slide module here. And then you control all of this with the app. You also need to be able to power this whole thing. And one neat idea about the Edelkrone system is that number one, there's no built-in battery. That means it's a lot easier to replace batteries if they die in the future. You don't have to send the whole unit back to the manufacturer. So to power this thing, the first thing you need is a bracket. You can get brackets for Canon batteries and also for Sony batteries. This is the actual battery kit that you can order from Edelkrone if you need to buy extra batteries. These aren't official Sony branded batteries. These are from Wasabi Power BTR-F550-JWP to be exact. So I got a kit which includes 2 of these batteries. There's the other battery in there. And also this kit includes a little charger for these batteries. There's also an adapter for whichever country that is. Unfortunately, that's not Australian. I don't think that's Australian. So I'm not quite sure how that's going to work. Also get a car adapter or car charger, car cigarette lighter adapter so you can charge it if you're running around or you've got a hire car or something. So that's the actual batteries and battery charger. You then need to buy a bracket that attaches onto here and then takes whichever battery you've chosen, Canon or Sony batteries. Let's have a look at this. So you can see here that we've got 2 spaces, so you can use 2 of these batteries. So you fit 2 batteries to here, and then you have a little power cable there, and then somehow that will fit into here, probably in this DC in, I'm guessing. Need to read the instructions so I don't plug the wrong thing into the wrong place. And then I believe that the battery plate itself will fit on here somehow. Anyway, I'll work that out when I go set this thing up in just a minute, and then I will see you in a few minutes or hours out in the field. Okay, so I come out to this local beach. Conditions are pretty terrible today for time-lapse. There's not much cloud around, so that means there's not going to be much actual motion in the time-lapse. It's really windy, so I've had to come down into this kind of little tiny bit of valley here just to get out of the wind. Flies are pretty terrible today as well. Anyway, so we're going to give it a go. So if I just move this around a bit, there we go. You can see here, got the Winston 2.0 tripod with the legs quite wide apart, because I'm going to try and use a bit more of the length of the slider there. It's going to unhook it in a minute, and because it's on a tripod it actually travels double the length. I've got the flex tilt head and then the A7R4 on top with the shutter release cable. I'm just going to go and fire up the app now and set a couple of keyframes, and then I'm going to kick off the time lapse. So basically the app, just put these on, I can't actually see anything. I can't see anything now either. Anyway, so the app has this smart pairing feature, and if you just tap start, it should automatically find the slider module, which it has. And then if I tap left and right here, we should see the slider move. You can see it moving to the left there and moving to the right. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to manually move it to the left and right just to check that the tripod's stable before I go and try and do anything else. I'm going to stand near it just in case it topples over. Hello flies. So I've set the record time for 60 minutes. Probably can't see that there, but record time of 60 minutes. And in that 60 minutes it's going to move the entire length. So, ready to start my first ever time lapse with the Edelkrone slider. Okay, 3, 2, 1, go. Got a little warning there about setting the shutter speed in the app, which I'd already done anyway. So I just heard the camera click. So I'm going to go unpack my chair, get the Kindle open, and then hang around for the next hour and see what happens. Nothing wrong with a bit of comfort when time lapsing. So the good news is, flies are slowly dying out a little bit. Bad news is, that's when the mozzies come out. So I think I've only got about another 30 minutes. As you can see, we're almost halfway along the slider there. If I get my big hand out of the way. What I'll do is when this time lapse is finished, I'll throw it up on the screen in just a minute. Like I say, I don't imagine it's going to be particularly stunning time lapse because of the lack of movement in the clouds. But anyway, this is a good first test of this slider. Before I go and throw that up on the screen, if you're enjoying this video, please click the like button. That really helps the channel. And if you like this kind of content and you want to see more time-lapse related and slider related content, make sure you subscribe to the channel today and turn on notifications.